All right, cool. It's the best way to start your NFL Sunday. Welcome, everybody, back to Sunday Morning Slants. I'm your host, Matt Watson, joined alongside Mason and Pat. How are we tonight, gentlemen?
Pretty good.
Fantastic.
All right, sorry about the episode that I'm sure everybody missed last week. Had to travel for work, but we're back. Little Christmas edition of Sunday Morning Slants. We've never made it this far. If you've listened to the podcast in the past, we normally tail off by Thanksgiving. So the fact that we've made it to Christmas is a Christmas miracle, might I say. But yeah, so we're going to do what we typically have been doing. We're going to recap a little bit of this past weekend in the NFL. We'll give a little preview for the NFL's Christmas slate this upcoming Thursday, as well as maybe some of the games heading into the weekend with 2 weeks to go in the regular season. So, Pat, I'm going to start with you tonight. What was the game that you watched over the weekend, and what were some of your takeaways from it?
As always, Eagles Commanders is my choice. Have to watch the hometown team, have to watch them clinch the division. Have to watch them actually play what felt like a clean game for the first time in a little while, as opposed, obviously they had that 31-0 shutout victory over the Raiders, but it's the Raiders. AFC West is not really a competitive division anymore, so it didn't really matter. But, it felt good to watch them go out and besides some errant field goal kicking, I'll call it, by Jake Elliott trying to sabotage the team as best as he can. Birds go out and get a nice win, seal up the division, seal up, obviously, that playoff spot. And it just felt good. A.J. Brown having 95 receiving yards, Saquon Barkley back to form with 132 rushing yards. Jalen Hurts feels like he's confident in the pocket again. He's targeting his receivers. He's connecting on deep passes. Everything felt a little bit tighter, a little bit neater, and the football that we're used to seeing out of them. Obviously, I have A.J. Brown's route tree behind me right now. A little bit more creativity in the offensive scheme. We were talking before this about how we feel like Nick Sirianni might have inserted himself in those offensive meetings the last couple of weeks, and Kevin Patullo is kind of taking a backseat, which I'm totally comfortable with. But just felt good. It felt like pure dominance. Start to finish, and you're not playing a team that's great. You're playing a team with 4 wins, but it always feels good to get a win over a divisional opponent and clinch the division. So nice hat and t-shirt game, but we're on to the next, focused on the next most important game in the playoffs.
Yeah, Pat, I'll ask you a question before we go to Mason on this real quick. So the Eagles currently sit in the 3 seed of the NFC playoff standing. They trail the Chicago Bears for a potential 2 seed spot. Do you think that the Eagles should play in an effort to try and get up to the 2 seed, or do you think that they should, in a sense, just take care of business, keep everybody healthy, not really worry about things over the next 2 weeks, because they won't be able to drop any lower than the 3rd? Even if they lost the next 2 games, I don't think the Panthers or Bucks could leap them. So would you focus on trying to get to the 2 seed, or would you rather just play it cool and head into the playoffs, likely the 3?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was actually talking with somebody about that today. As it currently stands, I think we're comfortable being the 3 seed. I'm comfortable going to the playoffs. At least you're in the playoffs, and I think that that's all that really matters at this point. You want to keep your players healthy. You want to keep them fresh. And I think especially we saw with Saquon last year, like you have a monster season like that, it's obviously going to take a toll on your body. And so I think resting those starters, giving them the time to recuperate. But if I've learned anything about the Philadelphia Eagles, it's that when they don't play for a while, they kind of go into disrepair. So if I was Nick Sirianni, if I was the Birds, I maybe keep them in for the first half of the next game, maybe the first quarter of the game after that, just to keep them fresh, just to keep them loose, maybe try out some new things because you've got nothing to lose, all right? Try out some different schemes, try out some new ideas, but I'm not keeping them in for the whole game just because the injury risk is too high. And also, dare I say, we've seen our second stringers come in for a few games this season. Obviously, they've been blowouts towards the end of the games, but I don't think they're bad. Like, I don't think our second team talent is really that bad in comparison to some of the other teams that we're going to be playing here down the stretch. And you guys know me, I'm a big Tanner McKee guy. Let Tanner go up there, light it up. I feel like they could still win a game or two, even if they're playing all second stringers, because I think that we just have that level of depth. So that's what I do. I would probably just keep the starters warm a little bit, but not too warm, And I also think, and I'll just finish on this, I feel like what you see with players like Hurts and Saquon and Devonta, like they get really amped and pumped when these second team guys have the opportunity to play. I think you saw that with Saquon last week, just going crazy when Tank Bigsby scored. And so I almost think in a way it will make them more amped and bring the culture back to this team that they desperately need. So that's what I'd like to see. And I honestly am not afraid if Tanner McKee's leading us for the last couple of games of the season. So,
all right, Mason, I'll throw it over to you. You have the Eagles NFC East Division champs banner behind you there. Back to back. How you feeling?
I mean, just hitting on the last point that Pat was talking about with sitting or starting. I don't think at this point you're going to sit your guys. I think, well, like one Pat talking about, I don't think you could sit them for 2 weeks and then expect them to just like be firing also on all cylinders as soon as they get in the playoffs. So I think you have to play them, especially this next game. And I think just going against the Bills, I mean, you had that 3-game skid where it looked like everything was falling apart and it was going to be 2023 all over again. And then you played a couple scrub teams. So I think that they need to prove it to themselves against a team like the Bills, who struggled a little bit earlier on in the year and looked like they maybe weren't the same team, but now are kind of putting it back together. So I think definitely this game coming up, there's no reason you should sit your guys. I think they need to go out and prove it to themselves that they can compete against some of the better teams in the NFL after looking like they couldn't for a few weeks. And then the Commanders game, I mean, I think at that point, I think they're going to end up sitting them that week. I think the only way they get the 2 seed, I guess, would be the Bears losing out and then us winning out.
Correct.
Which I kind of don't see happening. I think the Bears are good enough that they're going to end up splitting here. The Lions, which I'll talk about next, are looking like they're in disarray, which is the last game of the season for the Bears. And then this upcoming game, the Bears have the 49ers this week, so that should be a good one. But I just don't really see the Bears falling apart. They're a well-coached team. I think they're going to close out with a split here, and they're going to wrap up that second seed. So I think going into that final week there, I think you're probably going to end up resting your guys, especially with a team that has had some injuries, Jalen Carter, Lane Johnson. You're going to want that extra week to essentially act as a bye week to get everybody healthy. So that's how I see them probably playing that out.
Fair enough. And so you did reference the Lions there. They, of course, played in one of the craziest endings I've seen in the NFL. Seemed like we're getting a lot of that recently, but the Steelers hang on in Detroit to beat the Lions on a time-expiring play, really hurting the Lions' chances of getting the playoffs. So, Mason, I'll kind of let you take it away. What were some of your takeaways from that result and that matchup overall?
Yeah, I mean, this is what the Lions have been all year at this point. I know the injuries are stacking up and you lose Ben Johnson, so the offense kind of isn't firing all cylinders as it was last year. But, I mean, this is who they are. They beat up on really bad teams. They put up some 40 pieces and blowing teams out that aren't good. But as soon as they meet some competition that puts up any sort of fight, it just seems like they're just not the same team. This is a game that you're just expecting them the whole time, like, when are they going to turn it on? Okay, they're really digging themselves a hole here. And then it got to the point where they couldn't get out of it. I mean, I think the Steelers could end up I guess at this point, they just have to split to be better than 9-8. But they look like a 9-8 team. The Steelers aren't world beaters by any means. This is a team that at home, the Lions should have been able to take care of kind of handedly. I mean, I don't think the Steelers are going to win a playoff game this year. And the Lions, with their backs against the walls, fighting for a playoff spot, should have been able to put up a better performance than this. They could not get the run game going at all with Jahmyr Gibbs, which is just like, I can't wrap my head around. I don't know how you have that. So it's kind of like the same thing with the Eagles, I guess. But obviously Saquon with that year last year, taking a step back, just kind of wear and tear on his body. But I mean, I don't know. It just felt like that. Yeah. I mean, David Montgomery was their leading rusher with 4 touches and 14 carries. Jahmyr Gibbs had 7 carries for 2 yards. That just, to me, is just complete. That's malpractice. That's unacceptable. For a team that's supposed to be like a ground and pound, that's how they're supposed to establish themselves. The Sonic and Knuckles thing from last year. I mean, that's their bread and butter, and it seems like they're working away from that. I don't know why. Obviously, we had Dan Campbell take over play calling. But the Lions are pretty much dead at this point. the Packers have the tiebreaker over them, and that tie, it's essentially a 2-game lead at this point. I guess their only chance is for them to win out and the Packers to lose out. But the way they look right now, to me, just they're not going to take care of business, and it's out of their hands. So unfortunate. I mean, I guess Lions fans acted like they were hot shit, even though like they haven't done anything. So I mean, they get what they deserve, I guess. They act like they're tough guys, and I don't know. But Lions are dead at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. I think Detroit. I mean, you're right. They have to win out. The Packers would have to lose out. Green Bay does have a tough opponent with Baltimore this weekend. It is at home. I know Jordan Love was ruled out of their last game with a concussion, so we'll see how that progresses. But Lamar also left, the Ravens game on Sunday night with an injury, so both teams might have backups playing in that matchup on Saturday, short week. But then the Packers finish against the Minnesota Vikings the week after. JJ McCarthy likely not to play. It'll be the third string, probably the rest of the way here from Minnesota. And the Vikings, I got to imagine, want a better draft pick at this point, too. I don't think, even if they wanted to play spoiler that last week, I don't really think that they're going to have the capabilities of doing so. And then looking at Detroit's schedule, they do play the Vikings on Thursday, which I imagine Detroit's going to win. And then the Lions have to play the Bears, who are going to be playing for a seed, the division, etc. In that last week. So we do have a lot of great matchups kind of this last couple weeks here to decide some of these divisions. For week 18, you have Broncos, Chargers, Texans, Colts could be something. Ravens, Steelers could be for the division. Bucks, Panthers is almost certainly going to be for the division. Just trying to take a look. Seahawks, 49ers could be for the division.
That's going to be awesome, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great matchups, a lot of great options for Sunday Night Football that week. Typically, they like to flex the biggest game to that nighttime slot, so we'll see how that kind of shakes out. But, okay, a game that I wanted to talk about from over this past weekend is one that comes a little near and dear to my heart, and that is the Broncos-Jags. Jacksonville rolled up to Denver and handed the Broncos their first home loss this season, snapping an 11-game win streak. And I mean, the Broncos weren't going to win out, right? You weren't going to win your last 13 games to finish the season. I don't think anybody would have thought that was going to be the case. I do expect them to bounce back against Kansas City on Thursday. And then week 18 against the Chargers for the division should be fun. But I more so wanted to talk about the Jaguars, man. Like, they are a team that I don't think has gotten enough credit. I don't think I gave them enough credit. And just the performance that they came in and they smacked the Broncos defense around, which is something not many teams can say that they've done this year. Trevor Lawrence has had back-to-back incredible games for the Jaguars to the point where he's putting himself in the runner-up for MVP discussion. I think Stafford has that pretty much locked up, but I think there is a battle to say maybe who was going to finish second. Drake May, obviously, being another candidate. But the Jags, man, they are rolling. I don't think a lot of people gave them the credit. I mean, just kind of running through, they beat the Texans early in the year. Texans weren't very good, but their defense has been stout all season long. They went into San Francisco and they beat the 49ers. They beat the Chiefs, which was, obviously Kansas City's not as great as we expected, but still a quality opponent, especially earlier in the year. A tough loss to the Seahawks. They did get blown out by the Rams, but they've had some other quality wins, beating the Chargers. They've now beaten the Broncos. You're probably looking at a 12 or 13 win team at this point. They get the Colts this weekend, which, I mean, Philip Rivers has been fun to watch. Cool story, but I don't expect Indy to win that game. And then they get the Titans to finish out. So I think the Jags are going to finish 13-4. There's a chance for them to finish as the 1 seed now in the AFC, thanks to that head-to-head win over the Broncos. So I don't know. I think the Jaguars need to get more respect than what they've had so far this season. And I'll definitely, blame myself for not anticipating this. But I wanted to open it up to you guys. Just, what do you make of Jacksonville, and do you see them as a legitimate threat to contend for a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think when we talked about them earlier in the year, it was probably, I know you just ran through the schedule, it was probably around week 6 or 7, like maybe after that Seahawks loss, we had talked about them. And I think the question we had about them was, where's the statement win? Like, it was a nice win over the Chiefs, but at that point, the Chiefs were like, even worse off than they are now. I mean, what were they, like 2-4 or something? We were like, what the hell is going on with the Chiefs? We were like, is that really a good win? But I mean, this is it. going into Mile High when they had that win streak going, the number 1 seed in the Broncos. I mean, this is what you're looking for. Trevor Lawrence seems to be putting together under this new head coach, which those were a lot of question marks before the season started. He was kind of in that same range in the AFC with Justin Herbert, where it was like, when are you going to start to put it together? This is year, I don't know, for him, 6.
I think this is year 6.
So, yeah, I mean, it took a while, but obviously the team around them's in better shape. They have a lot more talent, and the head coach is really making a difference. And like you said, that was a huge win for them, and now they have 2 more games against teams that aren't performing at the highest level. The Colts were at some point, but at this point, it looks like they've fallen off a cliff. And then your last game against the Titans, depending on where you are for seeding there, you could probably even win that game with your backups. So yeah, it's a good time to get hot. They seem to be, this time of year, if you're getting hot at the right time going into the playoffs, that could be huge. And I mean, they're definitely going to be a team that I don't think you're going to want to see in the AFC.
You know, Jacksonville to me is so funny because I've never really thought of Jacksonville and the Jaguars as like a powerhouse team. Like you have teams that you think about and you're like, that's a winning program, that's a winning team. The Jacksonville Jaguars are never one that's quick to my tongue, at least, and maybe I'm not respecting them as much as I should. But you look at their depth chart, and it's just such an interesting vibe. Like their wide receivers are very young. I mean, their whole core is young, 26, 23, 23, 25, 22 for Bashal Tutin. Trevor Lawrence is 26, and then they would have had Travis Hunter at 22. So it's just a very young team. But it's also, you look at their stats, it's very reminiscent of like that season where, what was it, Wentz threw like 500 yards to 7 different receivers or something along those lines. Like you look and the spread of the offense is crazy. Like Parker Washington, 645 receiving yards. Brian Thomas, 619 receiving yards. Brenton Strange, 434. Jacoby Myers, NC State legend, 400 receiving yards. So it's very just balanced. I mean, even their touchdowns, each of them have 2. 2 of them have more than 2. So it's a very like interesting team. And then Etienne's about to go over 1,000 yards rushing. So I think when you look further down their depth chart, if one of these impactful players gets injured, which you obviously don't want to see, but like Etienne's their main back. He has been their main back. If he goes down, it would spell some bad things there. And so I think they're exciting, but I just don't know if they're built for the postseason. And so I'm not picking them to go super far, but I do think they're an exciting team. And I did not, if you would have asked me the record before this season, I would have certainly never said 11-4. And I agree with you, Matt. It looks like they could win those last 2 games and be 13-4 and in a nice spot. So certainly an interesting team and one we will be watching.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Jacksonville will finish 13-4 at this point, and it's do the Patriots drop another game? Do the Broncos drop another game? The Chargers could, in a sense, leap Denver as well to get that 1 seed. So a lot of big games coming up and down the stretch here. I do want to point out just kind of a little update for those who watched our playoff draft, which if you have not watched that, make sure to check it out. We have some teams that are getting crossed off the list here. Mason, you have the Rams and the Seahawks who both have officially qualified for the playoffs, as well as the Jaguars. So you have 3 of your 5 teams, and I think the Texans just need another win to get locked in, or another Colts loss. So at this stage of the game, you're probably going to you're going to have at least 4, and you'll probably get a division winner or 2.
The 49ers winning the NFC West would really be
that would hurt you. It'd be big for me, but it would hurt you. Pat, you do have the Eagles, and you technically have the most points thus far because the Eagles have won their division. I believe they're the only team in the league at this point who have clinched division.
Yes, sir.
But your Colts pick, your Bucks pick, your Lions picks aren't looking too hot. You do have the Chargers, who I do also believe have clinched a playoff spot at this point. So got another point there, but a little rough with some of your mid-round picks.
It's all right. I picked the Super Bowl winner, so
yeah, man, we'll see. My Panthers pick in the last round is looking awesome right now, considering they have leaped Tampa. but the Bucks still have a say in that. I think my Ravens pick looks really bad now that the Steelers are probably going to wrap up the AFC North, and the Packers are just going to probably just squeak into as the 7th seed. That'll be interesting. And then Kyle's looking pretty damn good too. He's probably going to get the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Steelers to win the division, maybe even the Bears. He might have 4 division winners.
Yikes.
If it's all said and done. So if you haven't checked out our playoff draft, that was a couple weeks back. Make sure you do check that out. And I'm sure we'll be doing another episode doing a Super Bowl prediction once the field has been set in just a couple weeks. So I do want to talk about some upcoming games. And I do, Christmas used to be a basketball day. Now it's a football day with the NFL invading. 2 games on Netflix, 1 game on Prime. And they all looked really good at the start of the season. Like, I think you could have sat back and said, wow, Christmas Day, you're going to get a lot of great football. Cowboys, Commanders, that could have been a wild card matchup. Lions, Vikings, 2 teams who made the playoffs last year. You would have thought they both probably would have been better. And then Broncos, Chiefs to close things out. You would have thought another great matchup, division matchup, potentially for a playoff or for the division. And all 3 games are going to suck on Thursday. None of them are going to be good.
Yikes.
There's backup quarterbacks playing for the Commanders, for the Vikings, and for the Chiefs. Cowboys are out of it. They don't have anything to play for. The Lions do have something to play for, but the odds are looking really long, and they should take care of business anyway. And then the Broncos, I cannot imagine that the Chiefs' third string is going to put up a fight in that game. I will eat my words if the Broncos don't cover the spread, which I don't even know what that is at this point. Let's see. Broncos, Chiefs spread. What is the spread for Thursday? 12.5.
Oh my God.
I'm taking the Broncos in 12.5.
I don't know. You guys barely beat the Raiders.
That is true. However, Geno Smith is much better than I don't even know the Chiefs' third strings. I didn't.
I had to look him up. And I couldn't say the name now.
Had no idea who he was. And for that, I'll take the Broncos and the points. But I don't know. Like, it just sucks because you want to watch football when football's on, and I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna watch them. I'm definitely gonna watch the Broncos game at night. But I'm gonna watch it with half an eye on it and half an eye on my phone or something like that because I don't really expect it to be much of a matchup. And if I come on here, I will admit that I was wrong. If the Chiefs somehow pull off a Christmas miracle,
it's a good day for some prop bets. Make it
it's a very good day for some prop bets. Last time Travis Kelce will play the Broncos, so I'm sure he'll have a touchdown. He always seems to find the end zone against the Broncos. It is in Arrowhead, which if you haven't heard by now, the Chiefs are leaving Missouri. They are leaving Kansas City, Missouri. Yes, in fact, Kansas City is not in the state of Kansas. For anybody who's not good at geography, they're leaving to go to Kansas. In 2031, I believe, is when Arrowhead's agreement expires. So I guess it'd be the year after, or maybe that is the first year they'd be moving states. They are just moving one state over. But for anybody else, like that is such a crazy change. Like the Chiefs are probably one of the only few teams that could actually do something like that and not disrupt everything, moving state lines. The Bears are rumored to now be building a stadium in Indiana. Because Illinois is not playing ball with them in terms of trying to get a new stadium. Both of these, by the way, are going to be domes, so we're going to lose 2 outdoor stadiums, which come December, January are cold games, which is a shame. But I just think it's crazy. Like, could you imagine if the Eagles left Philadelphia and built a stadium in New Jersey? Like, that would be wild.
Are they just going to be the Kansas Chiefs now?
I think there is a Kansas City in Kansas, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah,
I do think it's
different Kansas City.
My first reaction when I saw the news today was, "Oh my gosh, the Chiefs have won under 500 season, and they're picking up the whole program and moving." Like, it's just so funny. It's like I wish they would have done it. We don't see teams move in the middle of the night anymore, like the Baltimore.
I wonder
Colts
why.
did. Like, oh my God, it was like, could you imagine? Like, you wake up. They play on Christmas Day. You wake up the next day, and it's like the Chiefs have now relocated to South Dakota, and they're
Adam
just there.
Schefter bomb.
Yeah, like he's just like, oh my gosh! In the middle of the night, the Chiefs just picked everything up and left. I am curious. Obviously, Arrowhead, one of the most intimidating venues to play in. Obviously, didn't have much of an impact on Jalen Hurts, but one of the most intimidating venues you can play in sports. A lot of people claim that they pipe in their sound, but I wonder how that transfers to a dome, an indoor stadium. Feels like the aura is gone.
Well, they already said that they're going to cut down, like the amount of seats at Arrowhead will be larger than at this new proposed stadium. So you're already losing fans in a sense. And I guarantee you they're going to go deck it out with suites and luxury boxes and all sorts of things. So
yeah,
I got to imagine it's not going to be as much of a home field advantage as Arrowhead was. Especially if you're not playing in the weather.
Well, it's all right when they charge $32 a beer, you know.
Yeah, it'll make up quick. I think it's crazy to basically profit off of a dynasty. It'd be like the Patriots moving somewhere in Massachusetts. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy to think about. And I don't feel bad for Chiefs fans. They just literally won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. It sucks. I think I would do that trade off, right? Like for 3 Super Bowls, you know. I don't know if you guys would do, like, if the Eagles moved deeper into Pennsylvania, for example, they moved to Scranton. Would if you got 3 Super Bowls, would it be worth it?
Wyandotte County?
No. I don't think it would be worth it. I think they lose the aura if they move. Plus, that complex district is just so perfect. Like, does anybody know are the Sixers still moving to Market Street, which was the worst idea ever?
No, they are teaming with the Flyers, and they're building a new arena in that same lot.
Okay, perfect. Because like just the atmosphere is totally different if they were to move anywhere else. I mean, they played as the Steagles for a while, but I don't know where the Steagles Stadium was. I
think they played in Philly, if I remember correctly. Little World War II history.
Wyandotte County Chiefs.
That sounds threatening.
I don't know what they're actually going to be. I assume they're just going to be the Kansas Chiefs, which is crazy.
I don't think they'll rename it. I think they'll just still be Kansas City.
They'll just be fake Kansas City?
Yeah, I think it'd just be fake Kansas City. Like the San Francisco 49ers don't play in San Francisco.
Yeah, because then I guess they're going to just have to be – well, no, if they were just the Kansas Chiefs, their logo would still work. It would still be KC.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, Kansas Chiefs.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't thinking about, like, you would have to change, like, the whole logo and everything.
That's a lot of money they probably don't feel like spending.
Yeah.
So the Eagles and the Steelers, when they were the Steagles, they split games. They played 4 games at Shibe Park, which is in Philly, later known as Connie Mack Stadium, which was the home of the Philadelphia Athletics of the American League and the Philadelphia Phillies until 1970. And then they played 2 games at Forbes Field, which was the third home of the Pirates and the first home of the actual Steelers. So interesting. Head coach was Greasy Neal.
Nice. What a great name.
Wait, actually, they had 2 head coaches, Greasy Neal and Walt Kiesling.
Oh, is that what I saw too? Are the Titans getting a new stadium?
Damn, is everybody getting a new stadium around here?
Because I remember I saw this post. This is the first I've officially heard of this, but I just saw a post of like people being like, oh, like stadiums are losing like their aura essentially. And I remember seeing the Bears and the Chiefs with domes. And I remember seeing the Titans too. But it looks like maybe they're just keeping their stadium, but just putting the dome on it.
Maybe they're renovating it?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Because theirs is supposed to be in 2027. And I can't imagine they're going to have a new stadium by then.
Probably not, no.
So,
I know.
yeah,
I mean, the Broncos are doing the same thing too.
The new teams that are supposed to be getting domes are the Titans in 2027. This is Google AI, by the way. The Bears in 2028, which doesn't seem like that's going to happen soon. The Chiefs in 2031. The Commanders are looking for something in 2030. The Browns are looking for something in 2029. And the Jags apparently are looking into something. Also, the Bills and Broncos apparently are looking into something, but that's nothing official.
Well, the Bills' new stadium is like opening this upcoming season. It's ready.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's ready to go. It's like right across the street from where they currently play, I believe.
Does it have a dome?
I think it's a retractable roof, if I remember correctly. But it's not pure outdoors. So the Bills fans will have to shovel snow.
By 2050, are all teams going to have a dome?
Yes.
That's wild.
It's a shame. But it's probably because they want to be
the last to go, like the Packers.
Yeah, probably. Lambeau
And
will
then they're
be
gonna
falling apart.
get forced into it. They're gonna make some vote where it's like nobody wants to play outside, and they're just gonna force them to build a new stadium. Here's my prediction by 2050.
This
Bet
is
it.
such an awesome Wikipedia, the Steagles Wikipedia. It's so worth a read. Let me just read like two quick things. They talk about the two head coaches, and they say this led to several problems. The first being that the two men hated each other. Second, Kiesling's own players didn't like him, so asking the Eagles players to like him was too much to ask. But it led to the first winning season in the Philadelphia franchise history, and they don't even have a quarterback listed on their depth chart. Crazy. Anyway.
Well, this was your Blast and Pass, brought to you by
So
Wikipedia,
cool.
not sponsored. But all right, cool. Yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap. So a lot of big games. None of them are going to be on Thursday, but a lot of big games this weekend. Texans Chargers on Saturday is going to be huge with major playoff implications. Seahawks and the Panthers on Saturday as well. Should be a lot of fun. Bears 49ers on Sunday is going to be key. And Eagles Bills for even though I don't think there's going to be a lot of playoff stakes behind it, I think it's just going to be a great game.
You know, we forgot to highlight is this year's Tank Bowl, 4:05 on Sunday, the Giants and the Raiders. Huge implications.
All right, who do we think is winning that game? Who's going to lose the first pick?
I think
Dude, the Giants should win that game. Is Jackson Dart playing?
I think the Giants are going to accidentally do it. That would be like the most Giants thing ever. They just actually win the game.
The Giants are the best 2-13 team in existence. They should have like 10 wins.
Oh my god!
I mean, you're not wrong.
They've also had injuries, but like actually, they should be like in playoff contention, and they have 2 wins.
The Raiders are used to like throwing games, so they'll successfully throw that game.
I agree. I think the Raiders are going to win this game. I think Geno is going to put the team on his back, and they're going to get to their 3rd win. And it's going to cost the Raiders a franchise quarterback because they're going to drop like 3 slots in the draft, and it's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But
interesting.
Tank Bowl Sunday 4. So appreciate everyone for listening. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We'll be back next Tuesday to recap what was Week 17 in the NFL and then preview the final week of the NFL season. The playoffs are right around the corner. So thank you all for checking us out. Make sure to check out some previous episodes on our YouTube or anywhere that you get your podcast. And make sure to follow us all on social medias. Our handles are in the description. Thanks for listening and have a great night.